Well, hello, everybody that can't see me yet as I begin to panic because the overlay isn't coming. But if you can hear me, I'm assuming this is Andrew Dukowitz from Zone Coverage. And this is the Missing Links post-game live stream podcast thing. And Nicole Jackson from just about everywhere on the interwebs is joining me today. Lost Links Nation podcast host, writes over at the Best Damn W show, and also is a contributor at Hitting the Hardwood. How's it going, Nicole?
It's going great. Yeah, having a blast. Just got back from Vegas, watching the Lynx out there this past Saturday. Got to link up with Terry Horston. So, yeah, 2 great games in a row. That game and then tonight's game.
Yeah, I think coming out of the Vegas game, we're feeling good, right? Like, okay, this is a team that's missing some key pieces. They made a lot of defensive mistakes. Like, if they can clean some of that stuff up, like they probably are the best team in the league without Fee even. And then they come out here against Portland, and poor Portland. The best plus minus on the team was -7. Like, just everything they just kind of brought everything out against Portland to take out whatever frustrations they had from that Vegas game. And just I think you see the difference from like a Lynx Vegas type team and the Fire, who are, maybe they'll make the playoffs, but I guess just what are your initial takeaways from this Lynx game where they just, it was just a blowout from the second the whistle hit.
Agreed. And I think Court kind of touched on that in post game. She was just like, look, we came out, we punched first and didn't look back. And that's exactly how the game was. I think they led the whole time. Portland didn't, the fact I didn't even realize it. I'm looking at the box score right now. Nobody on Portland's team is on a plus. Like, they're all like, yikes. It was, yeah. And then, in contrast, I think we just said or heard from Cheryl that Lynx 7 players in double figures. What, first time? Did she say it was the first time in franchise
history?
Incredible. We were asking for bench production, and tonight, Ola, 11 points, and then Maya even getting into double figures to make the 7 along with the starting lineup. Tony had some great 3-pointers. Yeah, and even Hamzova, I forgot how to pronounce
Hamzova, I think. I'll be honest, I haven't talked to her in over a month, so it's in the recesses of my mind, but I believe it's Hamzova.
Gotcha.
But she looked fine. She scored her first career basket tonight, which, like, congrats on that achievement. She had made some free throws earlier, but she's officially, like, in the made basket. I hope somebody grabbed a game ball for her. Tony, 7 assists, no turnovers in 28 minutes. Like, that's
7 assists. That's more assists. Also, yeah, she's leading in the assists. Yeah. Woo.
5 players with 4 or more assists. We can go to the defensive side of it. At one point, Portland had made 18 shots and had 16 turnovers. Like, just the stuff that they're doing is so kind of impressive. Probably isn't even the right term. Like, it's so dominant. And I keep thinking back to last year of just like, this was the best team in the league during the regular season. Like, historically, they're up there with the all-time greats, and they weren't even coming close to, like, this is their 6th win of 20 or more points. Like, it's insane the type of dominance they have this year. And then again, it's insane that they don't have Fee or Dorka and they're doing this, because I don't know what other teams do when Fee is back.
Exactly. That's a good point. Again, that's what made, even though it was a loss on Saturday against the Aces, the fact that they were able to climb out of that double-digit deficit and take them to the brink and almost pull out the win, again, without Fee, that was mind-blowing, especially to watch that live. Like, whoa. But yes, just impressive all around. But then we always say it. It's Cheryl and it's the system. And I think Nia touched on it in post game, right? She was like, look, I've always been impressed with this system and this team and how they do things here. And so she was just like, I'm so grateful that things align, that she was able to join the Lynx and be able to play in the system. And she is thriving. And so I think that is just the beauty of it. I think you guys had asked Cheryl earlier a couple weeks ago about just how she spots players that just fit the system, right? What are you looking for
Mhm.
quality wise outside of just who they are as a human? And she hits it the nail on the head every time. As far as bringing in key pieces, people that nobody really thinks about. Like nobody was not saying nobody was thinking about Nia Coffey coming off Atlanta, but she was coming off the bench and
You
didn't
can
really
you can
have a
say it.
big role. Yeah,
Nobody was thinking about Nia Coffey coming off Atlanta. Like, her minutes decreased
yeah,
every year. Like, her shooting had fallen off. Like, honestly, none of I didn't I was optimistic that she would return to like the Sparks days. I mean, she's like a probably not all-star, but she could be like the second best player on another team at this point, which continue cooking though. I just wanted to also I wanted to affirm you that like, yeah, no one was thinking about this.
no, but for sure, and even Maya Caldwell, how she's coming to her own here with the Lynx. I mean, just these Cheryl just has a knack. Even let's go back to 2024 and how Alana Smith was able to get the contract that she got in Dallas. Coming into 2024 and coming from that Chicago season previously, you knew about her, but nobody was really thinking about Alana Smith. That's why they really didn't when they signed her in 24. People were just like, who's this Australian? And then in 2 years, she's the defensive player of the year. So just Cheryl knows how to bring out the best in players, I guess is the point that I was getting at. And it's just beautiful to see that with Nia. She's become one of my favorites. I'm not gonna lie. I love watching Nia out there. How many blocks does she have tonight? Three blocks? Yes, no. Yeah, 3 blocks. Another
3
emphatic
blocks,
just on the
3
yep.
steals.
Yes.
Let me get it right here because it was the 7th time in franchise history. She had 3 blocks, 3 steals, 4 assists, 5 rebounds, and 15 points. So she's the 7th player in franchise history to have a quintuple 5-3
Right,
stat
right,
line,
right.
which only Cheryl Reeve would track that stuff. But also, like, when
Right.
you're one of 7 that have done something in the Lynx, just like uh, I can't believe this is the first time a Lynx team has had 7 players score double figures. But then it's like, yeah, of course. Of course they did. Like, that's this team this year. Like, they're gonna break all the records and just kind of leave everything else in the dust. And to your Atlanta Smith point, like, that season was my first season with credentials. And like on media day, we were all talking about Dorka being the starting center. And people were a little, you know, looking at Cheryl cockeyed when it was announced that Lan was going to be the starting center. There's also like, you know, Diamond was going to be the starting small forward that year. And people were kind of looking at her cockeyed when Diamond got hurt and BC is all of a sudden out there getting a ton of minutes. And like, she just has this way of just, I don't know if it's like her brain is just like a computer and she just sees like how the puzzle pieces are going to fit and she can just figure that out. I don't know if it's just a ridiculously good scouting kind of profile, but it's really remarkable that she has done it to this extent with this team. Um, yeah, I'm very quickly running out of words every podcast of just like, I don't know how to put it in perspective of like how good this team is. Like, you don't just blow out you don't blow out Phoenix, Dallas, and Portland in 3 out of the last 4 games and just kind of like move on with your life. Like, that's 3 good teams. And first off, I want to say, Abby, it was also nice to meet you at the game tonight. Please, anyone that wants to come say hi. I sit right next to Terry and Cassidy. You can meet the whole crew. But Jude mentions, it's 111 point differential for the Lynx in the Cup games with the Sparks left. Like, that is insane that they have been this good already, which I mean, before we start getting into like individual players, any other just like takeaways from what this Lynx team has been doing so far?
Yeah, I think you said it. Who we've matched up against so far. I mean, Atlanta, some really good teams, solid teams. Atlanta, Chicago, Phoenix. I mean, yes, they're kind of going through their struggles, but they still have AT, they still have Ka. And Ka
Mhm.
just dropped 40 the other night. So they're still a dangerous team. And you're right, they're just making it look easy out there. Although they'll be quick to say it's not easy, but they're just having, it's another power of friendship. Maybe it's so weird, like maybe power of friendship part 2. They are having a ball out there, and that also I think factors into it when you're having fun, and you guys obviously winning. Court said it too. She's like,
Yeah.
winning is fun. Like that's why we love it. But you're really seeing it on the court, and they are, as they say, they're playing for each other. I think Liv. So going into, I know you were talking about her tech, right? So I think Liv was turning up. It felt like she was kind of like avenging K-Mac in that, like when she, I guess, got that in it. They took away her basket, her layup, because of the inadvertent like hand to the face or something. And it seemed like Liv kind of was like, I'm gonna get, for K-Mac. And so it was, you love it. Like they're all just going for each other. Liv talking about get them out of here. That was, I don't know what was, she was chirping with Sarah Ashley Barker. I don't know what that was about, but I loved it. It was entertaining.
Yeah. I asked Court about it after the game, and Court didn't say a whole lot. And then I kind of asked, like, is she getting past you and trash talking like the leader of that on this team? And Court's kind of, I mean, you could see it in her eyes, like the kind of like, yeah, she's she's different. I mean, the thing I keep this game especially was going back to is like, this is her 14th game and she's telling players to get out of her, like get off of the court because they're not good enough to guard her. Gets a tech for shit talking, which also is like hard to do. Like you really got to go at someone to get that tech, especially when it's your career first tech. Like the amount of talking you have to do to get that. And then just like, going out there and after that, drawing a charge, having a sick assist, then stealing it and getting a layup, then another steal where you're getting an assist. Like, it's just there's not very many people that I have watched play basketball that have that type of impact. And I mean, the easy comp is the other number 5 in Minnesota, Ant, that just seems to go up a level when he's kind of pissed off. Like if Liv has that ability too, I mean, watch out. If this is just like the first 13 games have been normal Liv and she also has another level to go up, it could get really scary for the league really quickly.
Oh, absolutely. And I think you spoke to it. I mean, yeah, she got the tech and everything, but she backs it up. She backs it up.
Yeah.
So I mean, you really can't say much about like, Rook, what are you talking? Like, no, people are like legit. Like, no, this she is. I think I was telling Terry at the Aces game, I was like, yo, she is not. I mean, I knew she wasn't an ordinary rookie, but just the way she took over down the stretch in that game, I was like, yo, she is just on a different level. And she, night in and night out, she continues to prove it. And again, we say it's so scary because she's only going to get better. It's only going to go up from here. And yeah, the sky is the limit for her. And it's just going to be the Lynx, man. Just to know that she's, how old is she? Like, sorry, I'm just thinking, I'm just like, how old is she? 23 or something? Just to know that the Lynx have her for like maybe the next 10 plus years. Cause I don't think she wants to go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? I think they'll lock her in probably long term to have that relationship with Cheryl and hopefully keep Way on staff. Oh my gosh. Yeah. They're about to wreak havoc on the league for the next 10 plus years, probably.
I mean, that's the, again, like it because I don't even think Liv, because she's a restricted agent after her rookie deal, and then they're probably going to have the core, the franchise tag well into the future because no ownership group is going to give that up. Like that's why the NFL has had it forever. Like it's just kind of a cheat code for the ownership. So like you're looking at a 3-year rookie contract and then probably another 3 years after that off of a restricted, and then at least another year after that. Like Olivia Miles is going to be playing here for, even if she hates it here, 7 years, which, I mean, if she's this good as a rookie, who knows what she's going to look like as a 4 or 5 year player kind of entering their prime. And I mean, again, tonight, 6 of 8, 12 points, has 5 assists, 3 steals, did have 3 turnovers, which like, that's always going to be my bugaboo with players in general. I just hate turnovers, but like, I don't know what more you can ask for, especially with Portland. It appeared that they were just saying Olivia Miles isn't going to beat us, and then everyone else collectively just beat the tar out of them, which If you're a team watching this that's like,
Yeah.
oh, we just won't go under the screens anymore and we'll start doubling her, like this has to give you some second thoughts of just like, I don't know what you do to like beat this team.
Exactly. And I was just thinking ahead because I'm actually score watching the Sparks game, and I think the last time I checked, actually, let me double check right now. They were losing to go. This can't be right. This cannot be the right score. 57-38 in the third, 60 now to 38 in the third quarter. Yeah. So
Oof.
just thinking ahead to exactly right. You just saw it too. But thinking ahead, you're right. Like, okay, on the scouting report, like maybe Liv is starting to be 1-2 on the scouting report as a like that's
I would
crazy. Yeah,
assume.
I would assume. And then, but the beauty of this Lynx team is okay, so they want to focus on let's take Liv out of the equation. Good luck. But even if they do manage, to disrupt her, what you still got K-Mac to worry about. You still have Court in the mid range to worry about. Natasha Howard is eating in the paint. All they got to do is lob it up to her. She's got it. She's got the footwork up and under. What you really can't. And then this is before Fee even gets back. Like, you know what I'm saying? Then you bring in Fee. You're screwed as a team. Like, what do you do? So it's so refreshing that the Lynx are getting these reps now without Fee. And that it's so good that Fee is not going to have to shelter a lot of the load. Because going into last season, when she went down in the semifinals, it was, you could tell, like, I mean, yeah, K-Mac did her thing in that game 4. She did what she could to try and keep the team afloat. Even Court poured in 20, but didn't get a lot of bench production. Just where else was the scoring going to come from? And this year, pick any given night, somebody can be the leading scorer. Yep. And that is the beauty of this team. So they are going to be hard to stop for a lot of, and I love how, again, going back to the post game against the Aces, and Tasha was like, we can beat any team. We feel we can beat any team night in and night out. Like, good luck. Give us your best punch. We're here. And they're showing it.
Yeah. I mean, it is. Yeah. It's, I mean, to your point, teams I do think are starting to really try and bother Liv, whether it's like, Dustin mentions physicality, which I also saw your comment that you were sitting behind me a couple of games ago. Like, yes, come say hi. Like, would love to meet a lot more of the Lynx fans that I talk at. But like, yeah, teams are starting to say like, okay, let's play physical with Liv. Let's go like under the screens, hedge her off. Like, let's really try and get like blitzes on these pick and rolls and just like do anything we can to throw her off of her game. And now we're seeing K-Mac score again because the gravity around K-Mac is not what it was 3 games ago. Now we're seeing Tosh still get these dives to the rim, because if you're blitzing the pick and roll, you need to bring help over to get Tosh. And then you're giving up like a corner to either Nia or again, K-Mac. It's kind of the worst case scenario. And you bring up the fee of it all. Like, Cheryl's been pretty consistent of just, everything's going to get easier once Fee's back, because she is also such a selfless player. And she's a 50, 40, 90 high volume player, which you're not going to be able to double Olivia. You're not going to be able to blitz her on these pick and rolls, because it's just, there's just not going to be an ability to do that. Again, it's as good as their defense is, like, I do think there are things that you can do against the Lynx offensively that can kind of exploit some of how they play defense this year. They do give up a lot of threes. They do give up certain looks that I think they view as like not efficient. Their offense, though, I don't know how it can be stopped this year. Like, there are just so many options and so many players that are good at different things that it's just going to be this onslaught, which, again, people have mentioned like that's bad news for LA. I think that's really bad news for like everyone this year of just what do you do? Which I do want to bring up. There's kind of a mini controversy. I don't know what it was, but like people were talking about it on Twitter today of like, is this Lynx team a super team? And I'd love to get your take on it. But first I'm going to throw ads in because,
Dude. Yeah. Bills.
I should say at some point I'm going to throw ads in when the Target Center Wi-Fi cooperates enough, which is right now. Well, hello. Thank you, Livestream Andrew. This is Ad Read Andrew. And today we have Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, the presenting sponsor for the Missing Links podcast. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling strives to inspire people to follow their ideas, working with respect and understanding to create a quality, tailored result. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, located in Blaine and serving in the North Metro area, is here to help you with your building and remodeling needs. I can say personally, thanks to Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, I have a beautiful deck in my backyard and countless projects that I started, they finished. Get started on your new deck or remodel today by calling Isaac at 763-710-5686. And we're back with another ad read, this time for Pence Homes, the presenting sponsor of Hitting the Hardwood Network. From the best tools and technology to transparency throughout the entire process, Nate Pence and the Pence Homes team is the top choice for buyers, sellers, and is proud to support you and your home ownership goals. Get started today by calling 612-308-1122 or by emailing info@pencehomes.com. All right. So shout out Nate Pence and Firehawk Construction. Appreciate you guys as always. So like someone in the chat here, while I was digging through it, reading ads, I wasn't doing both. I was just digging through the chat and eating pizza because I am hungry. And now the chat won't load, so I'm not going to be able to credit whoever said it. But someone had mentioned, like, how can we be a super team when everyone predicted we'd miss the playoffs? Which, fair point. I think that's a very good argument to start with. But Nicole, I'm going to let you cook here. Like, is this Lynx team kind of a super team at this point?
You know what? That person hit the nail on the head, because that is exactly my sentiment. Coming into this, the very brief free agency period that was like 2 weeks. And when all the Lynx players walked, right? Land, T, all them, and everybody was like, oh, the Lynx. And then, we signed Nia, we signed Tosh. And again, Tosh was coming off that season with the Fever, who I loved a few games ago where she said, like, people thought my game had fallen off, last season. And now it's been revived here with the Lynx. Coming into this, people really did predict what they were projected to miss the playoffs. I guess 9th seed or so. Now they want to switch it up, that they see like, oh, the cohesion and things like that. And people want to say that they're a super team. Oh, this is all before feet. I just find it funny. But I mean, when you look at it, last year they returned three All-Stars, K-Mac, Court, Fee, they were All-Stars. Natasha Howard is a champion, and she's a former defensive player of the year. Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at this roster. And then if people actually followed the overseas, Dorka in EuroLeague, MVP, Russian League with Ola, she was the playoff. I mean, these players were good. They just may not be big superstar names, household names that people know, but these are solid players. But would I say they're a super team? No. Now they're playing, they're contenders. Like super team, I feel like, is when you're trying to throw these superstars together. That's what I consider like a super team. You throw superstars together, and hopefully it makes it work. We didn't throw anything together. Like, this is the third year in a row now that Court, Fee, and Mac are playing together. Then you're bringing in Tosh. And so they didn't just throw these people together. There was a rhyme or reason to, again, why Cheryl picked who she picked. And she picked a lot of people that fit in the system that are role players. They're not quote unquote superstars, but it works. And that's the thing. When you try and throw too many superstars on one team, there's only one ball. You have to be able to, there can't be selfishness in the locker room, right? But the Lynx are quick to say, like, hey, we don't care who gets the credit. We don't care who scores. That's why they're moving the ball the way they are. Whoever's scoring, they're hyping each other up. Like, they really do play for each other. And you see that. But that's just, I think somebody had mentioned it earlier in the chat, one of the comments I saw, that's just Cheryl's system. She knows how to pick people that care, to play for one another. And you're seeing that. So, to answer your question about the super team, no, I don't classify them as a super team. This is just a Cheryl Reeve put together team. She knows how to put players together that work and that can win.
So I hear your point, and I do really love that you defined a super team as like multiple like superstars that are kind of like shoved together, right? Like Liberty are probably the most obvious one in the
I didn't want to say
WNBA
their
where
name
it's
out
like
loud, but
Stewie
that is
signs.
exactly who I was thinking
Oh,
of.
I will. Like Stewie signs, like Joan signs, Sabrina, like it just seemed like it was just let's get as many big names as we can. And I like by that definition, I agree with you. Like not a super team. Abby brings up like the Brooklyn Nets. That was also like Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, just all thrown together and like let's hope that it works. Like I don't think that by that definition the Lynx are a super team, but by like just like how much talent they have. You mentioned there's 3 all-stars on this team from a season ago. Natasha Howard, this is statistically her best season, which is better than her defensive player of the year season. It's also better than like the season she finished 5th in MVP voting. I mean, that's a super team quality player. And then you do have like Nia Coffey, who I think could be in the running for most improved. I mean, certainly if you're just looking from Atlanta to this year, Tony has been like an awesome role player off the bench. You mentioned Dorka, EuroLeague MVP, Ola, Russian playoff MVP, winning a championship. Maya was starting games for Atlanta last year in the playoffs. Like if you look at it from like the sheer amount of talent they have, it is obnoxious like how much talent they've been able to like squish into one roster. And then as people have brought up, uh Jude mentions the team is super but not a super team. Fair.
Yeah.
But like
Yes.
brought up like Cheryl just has this way of finding players that fit like the Lynx culture and then getting just an absurd amount of buy-in, like from the top of the roster all the way down to the bottom. Everyone's just completely bought in, which I don't know if that makes them like a classic definition super team, but realistically, they could have 4 all-stars this year, which I don't think that would be crazy at all. And the person that probably gets left off is like K-Mac, which is again insane.
Yeah, no, you're right, absolutely. And I saw somebody's comment where I guess somebody was talking about aces like and to be honest, the aces drafted like theirs kind of grew
Yeah.
organically. Like yeah, Asia, the 3 number 1 draft picks in a row. So you can't, yeah, I mean they didn't like just sign. Now Chelsea, bringing Chelsea in, that kind of made it like wait a minute, because that just brought in a fourth, because when they had KP still on that team, I mean then it
Mm-hmm.
became like ooh. But at the same time, when 3 of them were drafted to that, I agree with that person's comment about like theirs was kind of an organic kind of, when you have 3 number 1 draft picks in a row, yeah, championship should come from that eventually. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And speaking to, and I was just like, dang, K-Mac's stats, and it sucks because right now her stats don't truly show again the impact that she's having. But when you can only vote so many guards in the All-Star, you're right. Of the 4, that the Lynx are really pushing for All-Star votes, K-Mac would probably be the one left off, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, you can't. Liv is just killing it right now. Court is doing her thing, and the efficiency level and stuff like that. And yeah, I think Tosh, you got to give it to her there.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
definitely those 3, I feel like are locks for sure.
Tosh, I think, gets overlooked a little bit by like how awesome Liv has been, but like she has the best net rating in basketball. Like that's not an accident. Her defense is been awesome. Her offense, I mean, after watching Rudy Gobert try and catch basketballs all season, and now just see Tosh just have like magnet hands and everything is catchable. Like it's I know like national media is starting to catch up a little bit and talking about Natasha Howard and like how she has changed, like reinvented herself as this just awesome pick and roll big that plays so fast. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if she's on MVP ballots if it keeps going this way. Uh organic cheap plug. I have a Kayla McBride article that's coming out tomorrow that tries to put it into perspective of like how good she's been this year. Cause you're right. Like counting stats, like her true shooting is, I think her true shooting was the worst since 2021 before this game. I would imagine it gets worse because, 5 of 14, 1 of 4 from 3, like points, rebounds are up, but assists are down. Like, then you look at her advanced stats and she's posting a career high net rating, career high offensive rating, career high assist turnover ratio. And like all of the advanced stats are like Kayla McBride might be the best player on the Lynx.
But see, nobody's looking at
but
all.
No
Nobody
one's
can
looking
analyze
at
that, right? People are only looking at points when they're voting for All-Stars. And that's why I'm like, unfortunately, K-Mac's impact is not going to be when you're looking at points and like, oh, she only put up this, or like you said, efficiency, only 1 for 4. I'm surprised. I was like, wait, she only made 1 3. Like she's getting so close to like passing Tina Thompson. It's like, dang, it hasn't happened yet. Like, so maybe in LA on Wednesday, she might knock down the 2 3s and get into top 5. We've been waiting, and somebody in one of the Lynx chats was like, maybe she'll save it for Sunday when they're back home so she can do it in front of the home crowd, because we were hoping it was going to happen tonight in front of the home crowd, but it didn't. So
I know there's a lot of people with pre-written articles on like Kayla
ready
McBride
to just drop it when she finally does
just waiting for the game, and it just keeps being pushed back. I mean, someone in the chat here mentioned too of just like K-Max also her defense this year. She is, I think it was a few live streams ago, somebody said she's basically being Kayla McBride and Bridget Carlton on defense. And like she is, if you are not a center, Kayla McBride is guarding you all game. If you're the best player on the team between the height of 5'4" and 6'1", Kayla McBride is just hounding, which again, at 33 to be like this active and this like engaged on defense, and then on offense, asked her about it after the last home game of just like, what's the mindset been of just like people are just like objectively doubling her and she's not even involved in the play, or like playing like body to body defense and she's at like the logo, and just like, what has that been like? And she's just like, oh, it's been fine. Now all of my teammates are just more open, which I don't think you see that a lot in basketball, of just people understanding like a role and how impactful it can be to their teammates, which again, cheap plug for the article tomorrow, but she's had an awesome year. I agree with you. She's probably the one left off on the all-star ballot, but arguably she's had the most impact on this team, right?
For sure. And then somebody in the comments just said she's low-key playing out of position, right? She's playing the 3 this year. Just like how, Court, when she was playing, I mean, she was running the point, which is technically not her natural position. But now that she's back to her natural position, she's, blooming on offense and stuff. And I think you're right. K-Mac playing the 3 this season, at least to start, that may be impacting a little bit. Like you said, she's kind of playing dual roles. Defensively, like the Bridget Carlton and just all that, and the energy that she's exerting defensively too sometimes can take her out, of the plays offensively. But she's still getting hers when on those fast breaks. She's still getting those layups. She's still getting to the foul line, and that's how she's getting her points. So again, she's still getting it. It's not at the efficiency level, but I know, as people were saying here in the comments, when Fee returns, I think you're going to start seeing that K-Mac again, because like you said, Fee is going to draw the gravity that she's going to get. Are they going to double team Fee? You might want to, but if so, then are you going to allow, because Liv can get to the basket on anyone. You saw how she got around on Asia the other night, so are you going to leave, risk Liv, one-on-one? Are you going to risk K-Mac being open in the corner? So I think Fee's return will absolutely open up K-Mac offensively. But we don't know when Fee will return, and will it be in time for K-Mac to get enough all-star votes? I think is like the thing.
I mean, I do want to talk about that quick before we get out of here, but Ryan brought up earlier tonight of, do you think Liv's points will go down once Fee comes back? I think everyone's like scoring might go down a little bit, but their efficiency is going to get better. Because Nicole, to your point, if you're not doubling Fee, like the best play in basketball is going to be just running an ISO to Fee, and she's going to, I mean, this is the same woman that was like averaging a point per game or a point per minute through almost the entire 2024 playoffs. Like, if you're not if you're not doubling her, I think everyone on the Lynx is going to take a 40-point blowout with Fee scoring 50. Like, I think the shift is going to be probably when Fee comes back right away. People are going to say, all right, let's see what she's like and how's her ankle. And then once she goes for like 34 on 16 shots, then it's going to go back to how it was last year, where they are just objectively doubling her every possession. And then you have, you know, instead of BC this year shooting threes, it's going to be Nia Coffey. Instead of Court and T, it's going to be Liv and Court. And everyone kind of fits that mold a little bit better. And this team makes even more sense, which I do want to shout out BC. Really cool tribute video. Cheryl had some funny comments post game of just like, glad BC didn't go off tonight, but hope she does the next game. But BC at minus 31 in 26 minutes. Like, I don't know if the Lynx were trying to send in a message or something to all of these players that have left, but like, they played Lan out of the game. Jess got kind of walloped. T got walloped, and now this to BC. Like, if you're a past Lynx player, I would hate coming here.
That's a good point. Yeah, I know that wasn't the homecoming she wanted.
No.
But yeah. But no, it was so good to see BC. The tribute was absolutely warranted. She has I mean, it's so interesting that she wasn't technically drafted by the Lynx, but she still came to them to her rookie year and has been like Jess. You know, Jess was drafted to the Lynx 2019, same draft, and just all of that. You really did watch them kind of grow and blossom in their career. So now to see them kind of doing their thing with the respective teams is so rewarding. Just from a fan perspective, just watching them over the years and stuff. So that's been super dope. So she absolutely deserved the tribute that she got and the standing. We could hear, you know, on the broadcast. I mean, you could hear the crowd and the ovation and stuff. So that was, you know, well deserved for her. Yeah, I'm a big BC fan. She was one of my faves when she was here with the Lynx, and so definitely, you know, obviously tonight was rooting for the Lynx, but definitely rooting for Portland to have and BC specifically to have a solid season. So we'll see.
Yeah, BC's just such a nice person. Like, just to talk to and getting to know her over the last 2 years, like seeing how hard she works. Like, those are the things that, like, when you see how hard these people work and like how bad they want it, and then you see them get reward with like a massive payday and they go off and they're like performing really well, it is really cool to see that. Because I do think, like, you know, people in the media can kind of get that, like, you know, tough outer shell of like, it's a business and all of that stuff. But like, at the end of the day, like, BC's a really good person that worked her ass off for like 6 years and is now the like headliner on a new franchise. Like, that's awesome for her. That being said, 1 for 9 minus 31 against the Lynx. Again, I don't know if they're trying to prove points, but that was that's not what I expected out of her tonight. But I'm sure the Lynx had her circled on the scouting report of like, no, we're not letting her get anything, because I think we learned tonight that Portland without BC getting 20 points it's a tough offensive team. Last thing I wanted to touch on is just the Fee and Dorka injury updates. People who follow me on Twitter know that we ask every single practice that Cheryl Reeve is available, and we will continue to ask every single practice that Cheryl Reeve is available. But unfortunately, other than putting them on the injury list, Cheryl doesn't have to tell us anything. So, you know, from what she said the last couple times, Fee's doing basketball activities, to which I have joked a couple times that by me recording this podcast, this is technically a basketball activity. So that doesn't really mean a whole lot to me. I will say, like, you know, she's getting rebounds pregame. She looks like she's moving around pretty well in practice. I'm sure she's doing different treatments to get the ankles back right. Like, again, Lynx fans, you guys are insane. I'd see the like zoomed in pictures of Fee's ankles wearing ankle braces in like the team huddles and stuff. And like, yeah, I'm sure she's doing things, but as of now, they don't have to give us an update until her status changes. So I kind of assume the mystery will continue, but I don't think she's like a month and a half off. Like the people that are saying that she's not going to be back until August. Like I don't get that sense. And honestly, same with Dorka. Like I think Dorka is going to be back sooner rather than later. It just sucks with foot and ankle stuff because like if you do mess that up, like if you bring them back early or you're not 100% sure that it's completely healed, it just takes like stepping on someone's foot and all of the progress is erased. So
absolutely,
my hope would be they're back sooner rather than later, maybe by the end of the month or early July. But at the same time, like, you know, I'm not too worried about it being like, oh, they're going to miss the season or, oh, they're going to be out until August. Like, I think they're both getting closer. Dustin, I do also want to shout out your comment here of just Fee's reactions on the bench makes me no longer worry about her signing somewhere else. Yeah, I think every game I'm getting a little more like, okay, I don't know how you would leave this team with if you want
to
win.
say you got a point guard now, like a legit point guard. Come on now. So I think somebody had tweeted. I saw a tweet the other day. Somebody was like, Cheryl got her own Chelsea Gray now. like why would you leave? Why would you compete, like legit compete now? What's up?
Again, Fee comes back and this team might have 5 all-stars, which is just, if you want to win basketball games Fee coming back mid-season is like the Warriors signing Kevin Durant. Like it's just at this point kind of ridiculous. But Nicole, any thoughts on like the injury news or Fee ensuing eventual re-signing, hopefully?
Yeah, it definitely sounds like, she's doing individual drills, right? Basketball, stuff. She's there, like you said, at practice. She's probably off to the side doing her own workouts and just stuff, treatment. But as far as I guess team, where she's actually like up and down doing the drills with the team, I don't think she's there yet. And so maybe when you guys, well, they don't ever let you guys in enough where you will see them kind of do those like so we'll never like really get to see like, oh, she was actually pressed. So can't get that scoop. But hopefully by the end of this month. My timeline is like maybe before the end of this month. But I mean, the way the Lynx are playing right now, and I know Cheryl has said it like the wins loss, like, oh, if the team was losing, would Fee have run? And she's like, no, the timeline is the timeline. Like you don't, especially like you said, with foot and ankle injuries, those are some of those you can't rush those. You really can't. And so if there's still some level of discomfort, or she's, or Chuck and that staff and A-Train and all of them, they know, right? Like, so they're like, look, you're not there yet. And I think Cheryl has said Fee has, the fear of missing out type of thing where Fee wants to be out there. She's probably like, I'm good, guys. I can play tomorrow, which in her mind she can, but we want the longevity, right? We don't want to risk any setbacks that can then put you out for the playoffs and then it was all for naught. So I agree with them taking their time with it. The team is staying afloat. They're doing their thing. Why rush? So I feel good about it. Same thing with Dorka. I do feel like she will be back. I definitely, if nothing else, I feel like Dorka will be back before the end of this month. I do feel like, because in some of like the like media stuff that they send out to us, they kind of list Fee as like out indefinitely, but Dorka is just like, oh, she's out tonight for tonight's game. So the fact that it's not saying indefinitely shows me that Dorka is like day to day, maybe not day to day, but like any game now, kind of like Dorka may. Some people are talking about like as soon as we see maybe doubtful or questionable, as far as you're like, it's time. So until we see that,
It's one of the things that, like, pulling back the curtain, like, as somebody that's in media, like, reporting, it's kind of infuriating that we don't get to see, like, the end of the practices, like, the Aces let reporters in and Golden State and all of that stuff, and it's also a little infuriating that, like, we don't get better injury updates, but from the me as an adult looking at this of like what's going to give them the biggest competitive advantage, like if I was Cheryl, I wouldn't let any media come in and film practices. That's insane. Like, get out of here. Or if I was Cheryl, like I wouldn't tell anyone anything about my injuries, because then you can just have them pop up and everybody freaks out and you might get an extra win. So like as a person, I appreciate it a ton, because like I think this is just like the way that really good organizations run it. But like as a media member, it would be like really nice to just get like a text on the side of like, yeah, Field be back in 2 weeks, which unfortunately I do not get. But I do think they're closer than we probably know. I mean, again, just knowing how the Lynx and the Wolves kind of run the medical side of their stuff, like they don't let anything out. And then all of a sudden you just see someone's doubtful or questionable on an injury report, and then they're just back, which again, like if I was running an organization, that is exactly how I would do it, which I respect a ton. Because if they're back for like the New York game and you can just spring that surprise on them same day, that's an awesome way to kind of maybe just eke out a win and screw up somebody's game plan, which just want to catch up on a little bit of chat here before we close out, Nicole. Moment at the end of the game where McAfee, Court, and BC all kind of reunited, gave hugs, jumped up and down. Like that was super endearing. Like this team was really close the last couple of years. Josh says he watched the tech sequence and that was fire. Absolutely. That was one of the cooler things to be a part of. Like there's very few people that I've watched play basketball that can have that type of impact, like on a stadium and a team. And Liv is on a list that might include like 4 other people. Dustin adds bizarre reviews tonight. Yep.
Oh yeah, it was like every other there's a stoppage like every other minute.
It sucked my soul out how many stoppages there were tonight. And then a couple people have brought up trade deadline stuff. I'll just give like quick take. I think they need to get a backup point guard. Like they don't have another point guard on roster outside of Liv and Court. And I just you need something, which I think that's probably the target. I don't know if they still have the Emma Chikova, get her on an injury, exempt contract and then sign somebody with her slot and her salary. I would assume they are kind of holding off on filing that because once you file it and it gets approved, you have 3 days to add to the team. But I would assume either by trade or by signing probably the backup point, like true point guard is probably the Neil. Need any takes on that, Nicole, before we get out of here?
Good point. Yeah, definitely. I was pointing to just another guard in general that you can rely on coming off the bench to really help out there because we've got a lot of bigs, we've got a lot of size, which is great. You definitely need that, but the guards, especially the amount of minutes and stuff that like Mac and Court and all of them, and even leaving at least one starter on with the bench, and you can't really give them the adequate rest that they could possibly use. So yeah, definitely would like another solid guard that you can trust to take on some of those minutes for sure.
And there's some out there. I mean, like Jalen Sherrod still isn't signed. She knows the system, had a good relationship with people. I do think there's maybe they don't go out there, and I think Suge got signed to Dallas.
Yeah.
So some names are disappearing, but like I still think they'll wind up with somebody at the end of the roster. I think that's all we're going to cover tonight, but we will be back after the Sparks game. Nicole, where can people find you? And please plug your delightful podcast, though.
Yeah. So on X, Ms. Jackson 90. On Instagram, I run Los Lynx Nation, so it's just spell that out. That's where all of my articles, as well as like my appearances here, podcast stuff that I do, videos, clips and stuff, as well as TikTok, Ms. Jackson 90. So yeah, follow me there.
Awesome. Thank you for doing this. If anyone wants to listen to this as soon as I end the recording, it does get posted up on YouTube, X, and Buzzer, BZZR, the app, as soon as this is done and I hit end stream. If you can wait until tomorrow morning, it's not even midnight yet. We're well ahead of schedule. If you can wait until tomorrow morning, does get released as a podcast anywhere you get your podcasts. at 7 a.m. Like I said, we'll be back after the Sparks game, and we do have another bonus episode. I'm trying to do a little bit more of these now that the Wolves are kind of irrelevant until they make a trade. But Kyle Teige is going to be joining to talk Olivia Miles and play some games. So we'll be doing that tomorrow evening, probably around like 6:30, 7 o'clock or so. But if you want to talk more Lynx tomorrow, feel free to hop into that. We'll be doing fan questions, chat questions, all that fun stuff. But thank you everyone for listening. We'll catch you after the Sparks game. And Niven says Nicole is the best. So no notes.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Mm-hmm.